cheek to cheek, baby.
We're on? All right. Excellent. Good morning.
Hi, everyone.
Good morning, Janice.
Hi, Katie.
Good morning, Gracie Grace.
Hello, good morning.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's Kate Richburg and Janice Parsons live. It's Wednesday on beadshop.com, our Facebook Live. So it's Kate and Janice in front of the camera. Grace, our fantastic graphic designer behind the camera.
Yep.
And we're here.
Yes, we are.
We always seem to make
Wednesday.
it. It's another Wednesday. We make it. You guys, seriously, someday I think what Grace is going to do is she's going to start Facebook Live early before we know it and show us running around.
Yes.
Right?
It's kind of funny, actually, the way we kind of pull it
pull it together.
Like, oh,
we do.
It's 9:45. Oh, what are we going to do today?
Well, usually we know, but
Usually. But
So.
today we had some good ideas for adding to what we're going to do.
Yeah,
So
we've done some
color
great stuff.
paletting
We've got some
ideas,
good-
and
I've got some cool ideas over there.
but
It's
maybe-
all about Bollywood.
Right, but maybe we should hear from our
From our
friends
viewers
out
and
there.
friends.
Yeah,
Yeah,
our
so
friends
Grace,
out
we
there.
have, is anybody watching?
Oh my gosh, so many watching, so many hellos. Can I just quickly read off?
Yeah,
Yes.
do it.
Kelly, Kathy, Tammy, Geeta, Bonnie, Dee, Whitney, Drea says hi, Sue, Lean, Linda, Netta.
Yay,
Oh,
good
and-
morning,
and
everybody.
a shout out to Sandy,
Yeah,
who I
your
swim
friend
with,
Sandy, who you
who
swim.
said,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, I saw her the other day, but at the Y, and she said, "Oh yeah, I watch you every Wednesday morning." So, hi, Sandy.
Isn't that nice? We've gotten some really nice comments. I do a little notice for Facebook Live on the night before and stuff, and on this notice that I put up yesterday, we had so many comments. Someone said that we're better than watching cable.
Oh, that's amazing.
That is. So it's like we're better than I don't know
What would
what's
be
hot on
cable?
cable right now, but anything. So we're hotter than the latest HBO series.
Wow.
Who knew? Who knew?
Who knew?
Who knew? Who knew? Anyway, so thank you so much, you guys. We always appreciate you watching, and you share our video, and you comment throughout the week. So we really, really appreciate it. It keeps us inspired.
And we're really
and going.
amazed that anybody is watching.
It's actually watching us. So, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's great. We
Yeah.
have people, we know that we have people worldwide that tune in. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool to make our worldwide beading community a little bit smaller
Yeah.
every Wednesday morning.
Yeah,
So.
it's like old times.
Old times, good
Feels
times.
good, yes.
So
Feels
Gracie
good.
Grace, do we have anything else we want to shout out for?
No, that's it so far.
All
Just
right.
all our hellos.
So I'm going to start in, as always, I like to, throughout the week, you guys send over some really cool stuff. We've gotten a lot of you who have sent over your creative spaces,
Yes.
photos for that. Now, in my email, I'm making a special folder for those, and they're all going in there because you guys have really been great sharing the spaces that you create. Our viewer, Sandy, who we did a blog post about it, and it's on the editorial,
yeah.
on the front page. She talked a little bit about her creative space, and so I asked you guys to email Kate at beadshop.com any of your stories or photos about your creative space, which were really cool. We're not going to show too many, or I'm actually not going to show any today, because we have some plans what we're going to be doing with those. They're going to become a blog series. You guys will see them on there, as well as Janice is looking to kind of throw them together into a lookbook, which is going to be
I'm
neat.
excited about that.
One that was really cool that I wanted to shout out, and I'm not sure which customer or which one of you viewers sent it in, but it was so charming, and we'll show it on the blog. So she was going to keep chickens.
Yes.
Right.
And then ended up not getting chickens, but then themed the whole motif with chickens.
Yeah, she has her creative space actually in the chicken coop.
So, don't we have some pictures of it?
We do, but I'm not going to share them yet.
Oh, really?
It's just
You've
going to be
now
a
talked
teaser.
about it, but you're not going to.
Well, maybe
Okay.
I'll post it on
Okay.
the blog. But it's so
yeah.
charming.
Yes.
She made her unused chicken coop into her own creative space.
Yes,
which
it's
was
adorable.
charming.
It's
So
adorable.
keep sending those in, and we'll reveal them because
Yeah.
I've got some other things I want to
Yeah,
share today.
okay,
So
okay.
you don't get to see the chicken coop one.
Okay. Well,
All right.
I've seen it.
You have.
Yeah, but I thought maybe everyone out there would like to
They'll
see
see.
it. Okay.
You're patient.
more patient than I am.
Drink some coffee. All right. So we've got a couple of things kind of on. Don't spit.
I won't.
Okay. We've got a couple of things from customers. This one's from Jackie. And Jackie said, when I first learned about wrap bracelets, she Googled samples, and that's how she found beadshop.com, which was awesome. She made the Bollywood from beads that she had, and then she traveled to Kenya and went to the Kazuri bead factory there, which is great, handmade ceramic clay beads, really beautiful. She decided to use some of their handmade beads in her version of her Bollywood. And she said, I know you're doing this Wednesday show in Bollywood, so I thought I'd send this photo to share. So really great, timely.
So beautiful.
Let me pull that. We can see. I just have to find it here. So it's a really beautiful design. I'll turn the camera, Gracie Grace, so you can pick it up. I want to make sure it's bright. But you can see here, there's her Bollywood. And notice what I really liked about this piece is she mixed this Bollywood design with laddering here. And you can see her Kazuri beads. They're larger. These are probably about an 8mm bead, I'm guessing. And then, though maybe they're a little bit smaller, but how really nice it fits with the leather underneath. And then she did the Bollywood stitch over the leather here. So it's really great, and she added a charm. I think it really looks beautiful. So it's a great way to kind of mix wrap bracelets into Bollywood.
Yeah.
Then we also had, which I just thought was really lovely, has not a lot to do with what we're doing with Bollywood today, but I wanted to share, we are talking about color, and so I wanted to share this really great color palette.
And who is this from?
This is from Tracy, and Tracy said, hi Kate and Janice, thanks for all of your inspiring projects, blogs, and live Facebook feeds. She said the herringbone wrap bracelet is one of her favorite projects from the site, and it all started with the beauty wrap bracelet. It was her first kit purchase. She was inspired to create a herringbone wrap with copper tones, and then later, to satisfy her love of gunmetal, created a version in charcoal, and she attached some photos. And what I really love about these, and Grace, I'll turn it so you can see it, we talk a lot about warm and cool colors when we palette.
Yes.
We talk about kind of also sometimes creating a collection so that the pieces match. And I think this is a really good example of doing a warm and a cool tone. I love this. I too love this charcoal kind of Montana blue kind of feeling. So I think that's really lovely. And we have a couple more shots of those. Let me pull that up. Here you can see the front, the buttons that she used on those. And again, she used Nicole's way of hiding the transitions by using jump rings here.
Are we going to be adding these to Beater Showcase, do you think?
I hope we do. Yeah. We'll
I hope everyone out there knows that they can enter
Beater Showcase.
their samples into Beater Showcase, and that we highlight samples of everyone's. Well, we can't highlight everyone, but as many as we can.
As we can. And look at
it's
how nice.
Just gorgeous.
It's really, I just loved this warm and cool.
Yeah.
And then the last thing that got sent in just before airtime. So, you know, my mom is a big watcher here of our.
Hi, Gwen.
And
is
my
out
mom?
there?
Is she
She
on
joined.
There? She
She
joined.
just said
Okay,
hello.
great. Hi, Ma. And we were talking, you know, sometimes we talk in the car when I'm driving home. And as you know,
your phone
my
is
hands free. Yes,
hands-free,
it is
yes.
true. It's hands free. I have my
Yes,
headset.
okay.
It's all good. But we talk, and she's been doing a lot of beadwork because she's been laid up with her foot, though it's getting better, which is great. So she really, you know, being a child of the 60s, loved doing macrame. And so she sent her kind of Bollywood meets prairie, Bollywood meets poetry kind of feeling. So she wanted to let me know that she is doing a lot of macrame with the Bollywood, but she is doing it kind of a la prairie. So she sent this using her 4mm beads here. And so I took that inspiration, so I have something to share with you guys
good.
today
Good.
that kind of riffs off what my mom is doing. So it looks like, Ma, you're using some Ceylon instead of Chinese knotting cord, and then stringing these 4mm fire polish up and kind of doing a Bollywood meets poetry.
I like
kind
the
of feel.
fabric.
Yeah, this is, I think, on her table cover. I think
Yeah.
that's our tablecloth, which is cool. But she's really going to town with these wrap bracelets, so you
Yeah.
can see. But I thought it
Fabulous.
was great. So thanks, Ma, for the inspiration. I'm going to show you how I took that a couple steps further. So speaking of color inspiration, Janice, you've got some beads in front of you.
I do, and today we're talking about Bollywood.
We are.
And
We've got some new samples.
We've added some new samples to the Bollywood collection, and it's what's so much fun about this whole project is that out of 5 colors of Chinese knotting cord and 4 tubes of seed beads, you get 15 bracelets.
Yeah, plus more because
Plus
I
more,
use
yeah.
the leftovers.
So
from
we
this.
have 3 new colorways that have gone up this week. Daydream, Bliss, and Nostalgia. And they're on the project page.
Yeah, I'm going to pull
Under
this back up.
what's the do Hickster?
Under Bollywood.
Under Bollywood, and it's based on a wonderful video project
Which
that
I also
Brittany
have up.
Ketchum
Yeah.
now. Brittany Ketchum Roney.
Yes.
Hi, Brittany, if you're out there.
Yes.
That she did for us several years ago. And it's still as good today as it was then. We have a couple of modifications to, times change. We get new product names. We drop certain products and everything. But basically, the Bollywood project is just wonderful. And these samples, many of the newer samples were made by Robin Tobias.
Yes, and Robin just Bollywood's like crazy.
She does. And so we're excited. I mean, it's just
Karen did look at this
fabulous
project map.
colors.
I can't.
I mean, there's just too many permutations.
I want to put my wrist in all of them. They're
So
beautiful.
I just grabbed a different kind of palette because these palettes are monochromatic. And I love doing, although if you separate it out, you'll see that there's gray in here and there's dark blue, Montana blue, and also turquoise. And these were done for basically for the editorial look of, people like pink and rose together. They like creams and tans and browns. It's very popular now. And of course, we can never run out of turquoise and blue.
Right.
But I just wanted to put together a possible palette that I would do from a book. And so I got out this book, which is, I don't know if it's still in print. It's Trisha Gilt's book on color.
You've been teaching color out of that book
Forever. For 10 years, probably. And I picked this little
that little color palette
graphic here, and it's making color work, and you could get this from a fabric. If you find a good book like this book is just chock full of
color inspiration.
But this isn't the only book out there, and I'd recommend starting at the library, in the photography, in the fine arts section, anywhere. Don't even buy a book. Don't get locked in. Anything with photography, a museum book, and just find
look at that Provence. I love it.
I mean, putting the mustard with the purple, it's so refreshing, and then the green. And then not forgetting that in the background there are also these other shades.
Right, some darks.
Yeah, you need your darks and your lights. But what I did with this particular one is I picked out a palette of five colors of knotting cord.
And this is the 5mm knotting cord that we're using, right?
Yeah. So here's like 5 colors that I think Would I like to put 10 colors in? Yes. But I'm limiting it to 5, and then I picked out 2 6/0 that I thought, you know, themed this side,
nicely.
the blue, this side, the warms, then this bringing out a little more of the green in the middle, because I just love green, and then picking up the yellow, which isn't any place else. So without the yellow,
it's nice.
It's nice, but it's a little ordinary. You put the yellow in,
and all of a sudden your palette is beautiful.
So I just wanted to share that. The other thing I want to just say is that in the video, Brittany talks about, like, pick up a peridot. She talks about a specific colored peridot. And the names of the Chinese knotting cords have changed.
Right.
And so this particular one, which is now coral, was melon. And so it, for a time while we transitioned, it was a bit confusing. But they started coming to us from Tangles and Knots one day with new color names. And on the package. So we had been using our own names for things, and then we transitioned. So,
well, this is great. It's a really, I think, a wonderful spring palette. And, you know, we talk a lot about color and color paletting and creating color. You can go on the website to the color collection and start to make color choices that way. But if you are new to color paletting and new to working with color, this, I think, is something that's really approachable for a beginner, because you really do. You only have 5 cords, and 4 seed beads.
Right, that's it.
And that's it. It's not a huge, like, monetary investment, like, I'm making a huge necklace. And then what you do is, when you start to create your strands, your bracelets, it doesn't really matter what you use.
No.
You know, you could
They
mix
all work.
this and this, or this and this, you know, so be creative with what you're knotting.
Right.
You know, I think it's great.
Everything works together.
Yeah, everything works. I love this palette.
Thank you.
I'm ready to jump in with that.
Great.
Well, great. Well, now that we've looked at a palette and how to pull that together, I'm gonna jump over here.
Okay.
And start to do a few demos about making this Bollywood. Any questions so far, Gracie?
No, nothing.
I'm transitioning my spot over. I think this, like Janice was saying, this Bollywood is a project that really lends itself to summer, to spring and summer, especially. Are you good with that? A scoop. There we go. I feel like if you were going to go on vacation, or you were going to, you know, Brittany mentions in the video how, and she shows it at the end, how she lines up her pieces that are all ready to go, so you can get everything all set and then take it on the plane or in the car or whatever works. So I think that's kind of a fun way. And what Robin said after she brought these samples back, she was doing them, and I think it was her daughter or one of her close friends.
They did parties.
They did a party. They loved it so much that she got all the stuff. She threw it like all in the middle of the table, and they did kind of a Bollywood party, which was really fun. Yeah,
with first her
I think it was her daughter.
Friends, and then with her own friends.
Her own
and
friends.
It was a great kind of like wine and cheese de-stressor.
Yeah, and so if you know, weather is looking nice now. If you want to start, well, in most parts of the country, I know some people are having snow still in April, but it's a great one if you are, if you do want to get together and bead with girlfriends. It's a fun way to do it.
And it's very affordable.
Yeah, very. So let me show you a little bit about what I've got here. So I did some variations on a theme, but I want to start, Janice, let's start actually maybe with your palette. I want to show you how I would actually start the traditional Bollywood, and then we'll jump in.
Okay.
too. So I've got my design board here, my deep dish design board. Oh, and you know what I'm missing?
Some clips?
I am. All my clips are on there.
I'll get you some clips.
Yes, please.
Do you need a tape measure?
Nope, I've got everything else.
Okay.
My tape measure was sitting here a second ago. Yeah. Well, you know. We're all good. Oh, there are my clips. I knew I threw them out here on the table somewhere, our good old binder clips.
Okay.
So one of the things that the video is a little vague on, so I'm going to continue to be kind of vague about it, is how much cord do we actually use for the Bollywoods. So I'm going to choose for my base, I'm going to choose, I don't know, maybe this blue. And so for the base, and this is the 5mm, though you could use any size Chinese knotting cord, it doesn't have to be 5. We're going to use, I'm going to get about a 2-yard length of this Chinese knotting cord, and I'm going to come in and clip it. Okay. Now, what Brittany shows is I'm going to start by getting my needle, my collapsible eye. Why can't I ever get that right? I tell myself. And I'm going to slide this guy on. And we always start at the very end. This is our base, all right? And I'm going to start by tying a little overhand knot here. This is going to be the end of my bracelet. Can you see that? That's what I'm doing. No, that's not right. I'm doing it backwards. Sorry. I'm doing my variation. What Brittany does is she starts in the center of that cord and she ties an overhand knot.
What she calls a surgeon's knot.
She
goes through the same one twice.
And see that guy there.
But you're right. That little knot is the tail.
That's the tail.
So
that's
this.
Right there.
Right.
Then I choose a bead. Now this is where we wanted to mention on the sample in the video, Brittany uses A-dot seed beads. Is that right? So talk me through this,
so
Janice.
She uses A-dot metal seed beads, which have very large holes compared to the A-dot Miyuki glass. So they work really well. She puts on an A-dot metal bead, and it works on the tail. But we decided to not use metal beads on these new samples, but to use glass beads. And in making the samples, the 8-aught glass bead doesn't, so we use a 6-aught.
So that's what I'm doing.
So the 6-aught goes on it easily. We also, Brittany throughout the video uses thread burners. She uses the thread burner at every stage, and we have since
we've moved away from it a little.
Well, they just don't perform the way we'd like to, and we'll like them to. So now what we just really do is we just use the GS Hypo cement. We use a good flush cutter, and it works just fine. Yeah.
So now that's where my little bead is here.
Right.
So this is about a 2-inch length, and this is what's going to be the end. So I'm just going to come in and tie that overhand knot here.
Right.
And the video, you guys, is really,
it's
so clear.
Yeah.
It's really, you know, Brittany really does some nice, simple, straightforward narration on it, but I just wanted to reiterate it here. So now I'm ready to start, pretty much. So now I'm going to set this guy up on my board.
There you go.
So thank you. So, I've got right here
That's what you're paying me the big bucks
I am.
for, to hand you the clips.
You're my Vanna to my Chuck,
right?
Or to my Pat Sajak. Here's my cord. It's all ready to go, and I'm going to attach it there, and I'm going to attach it here on this side. So it's all ready, and you can go a little bit higher. Sorry, my arm grace might be in the way a little bit, but I need a little more room underneath So when I pass my cords underneath, I've got some clearance. So there's my knot, and I'm going to start my macrame. So I'm going to use
I knew
this.
You were going to use.
You did,
yes,
right?
I knew
The
it.
coral, right?
And you're going to cut 2 yards again.
I'm going to cut 2 yards. So I'm going to do my kind of wingspan measurement, my 2 yards here, and I'm going to clip right here. Now to start, what Brittany says is that the first, I'm going to bring it all the way so my little join right here is in the middle. What Brittany says is it's the first knot that is kind of the biggest pain in the butt, right? Well, she doesn't actually say that, but I'm going to say it. I just did this little overhand, like the first knot you use to tie your shoes, and then I'm going to come in and I'm going to just tighten it up. Now you just jump into macrame. I'm going to turn this a little bit, Grace, if you can get that angle. Just to remind you about the macrame stitch, I'm making a P shape here with my right hand cord, and with my left hand cord I'm coming underneath and out through the loop of the P. Okay? And then I tighten. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the opposite side, but I'm going to make a Q. See how this loop comes down and it's shaped like a Q. I also know that I'm changing sides because of this little scallop of thread here. The scallop side is the side I always tie my knot on for the flat knot. So there's my Q.
Does Brittany call it a bridge? Is it what
She may call it. Maybe she calls it a bridge.
But it's the side. If you look at it, it's the one that has the top stitch.
Yeah,
on
it has
it.
a little curve.
And that reminds you if you have to go away and answer the phone that's the side you want to do your next stitch on.
So I'm going to make a pair of knots, 2 and 2. So I've got 4. Okay.
Can I
That's
just
yeah.
mention that some people are reporting of glitches today. And
Oh.
actually, I didn't see a lot of the comments, so I'm sorry.
Oh.
But there weren't any questions up until now.
Oh, okay.
So,
All right.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Gita is wondering if we can use rat tail instead of Chinese knotting cord.
The answer is yes. Gita, it's a bit slipperier than the Chinese knotting cord, so that it can it's more satiny, and so the knots can come out. So it's really important that when you secure it, that you use a glue at the end. But yes, you could use it. The beauty of the knotting cord is that it because of the tooth on it, it really, even though it's still shiny, it's just a little more. Now, what are you using the zap glue for?
I'm going to tell you in just a second.
Yes.
Whitney's asking, how about Ceylon?
You could use Ceylon, absolutely.
You could use both.
Yes.
So one of the things that I'm going to do now is I'm going to start to, pardon me, I'm going to start to string my beads here for the actual Bollywood stitch, for the beaded stitch. Now there's a couple of ways I can make this cord stiff.
Okay.
I could use my zap glue, my little needle trick that I do with Ceylon.
Right.
I could put my zap in a little puddle on my plastic baggie, and I get the end of my cord, I fold it around, and I saturate that cord. And I could also do this with hypo cement, but at home when I was working on this, I only had zap, so I used the zap. And what I liked about the zap was that it dries
immediately,
almost immediately, and it's really, see how stiff that is, you guys? I'm going to let it sit for just a moment more, and I'm going to angle cut. Yep, Gracie, question?
Mary's asking if we have a video on all the different knots we use. And then we also have a question, what size knotting cord are we using?
Okay.
Because I think we said 5mm earlier.
Oh, I always say that 5. It's
And
0.5.
then, and then Debbie's saying she's never thought about using the short sides of the boards for these bracelets.
Mm-hmm.
She thinks that's a smart idea.
Yeah. And using the short side, I could line all 5 up at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Kilda says a lighter too. Sorry.
Yeah, you could kind of like the thread burner people do, put it in a candle or with a lighter to kind of stiffen that end.
Right.
But this is the 0.5 millimeter Chinese knotting cord. You could use the 0.8, you could go down to the 0.4, any of that will work.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I was talking about with my mom yesterday as well, she was experimenting with different cord sizes. What she recommended though is that the base cord size, if you're switching it up, this base cord size is heavier and your knotting cord size is thinner, not reversed. So if I were doing this with 4 and 5 millimeter, my 5 millimeter would be the base and then my 4 would be what I'm knotting with.
Right.
If you switch it out, it's a little bit more difficult to deal with the knots. So you can see I've just, how nice and stiff that the end of that is. I can just string on my size 6, my size 6 beads.
Do the size 8
so.
fit nicely on it too?
Yeah, I think it does. I was
Just will
using
you
size
show me?
8s.
Show us.
See
Okay.
that? Yeah.
So you don't need a thread burner.
No, nor, and
no.
you could use, I do on a lot of these projects that I have set aside, I do use the needle.
Would you do me a
So-
favor? Will you switch up some of the other colors so that we can
Sure.
see it's not all one color? What would it look like?
That's your phone.
No, that's my computer.
That's your computer.
I know. I
Someone's
think someone
calling.
is going to go close the.
There we go. That's the beauty
Thank
of live.
you.
There we go. I'll switch it
I
up.
just
4
want to
and 4.
see what it looks like.
Okay. Your command is my wish. Your
Right.
wish is my command.
I
Whatever
just
it
want to
is.
see what it looks like because we've made these all
Yeah.
the same bead on each one. What it looks like. Let's switch it out a
So
little bit.
what I would do is I would just do my pattern all the way along. But for just this little sample, I'm
Right.
going to do it this way.
Okay.
So I'm going to tie at the end. I'm going to tie, this will be waist later, and I can take it out or cut it off or whatever. But
So
I'm gonna
you would
tie,
string your 48 or 50
right.
beads.
I think she
and-
says 43 or
Something, yeah.
like that. So now, and I've strung them, you guys, on the side. It's the right hand side, the side that has that little bump. So this is the side.
Can I just ask another question
Sure.
on behalf of Cheryl?
Yeah.
She
Hey, Cheryl.
wants to know if we could use Chinese knotting cord for the base and Ceylon for the other.
Yes. I don't know why not.
You can. The only place I would wonder if the Ceylon would work would be with the adjustable knot. Because it's not slippery at all.
Yeah, true enough.
I think I would use the Chinese knotting cord for the knot
The
where
knot.
where it
The
needs to
fishtail knot.
fishtail where it needs to slide a little bit.
So then that would answer someone else's question about wax linen.
Mm-hmm. A wax linen would be a no.
No.
Would be a
Wax-
no.
We missed one question though. There was one question that did not get answered. It was
Well, while Grace is looking, let me jump in
okay.
and start with this. I'm going to start by just sliding my 6/0 bead right up next to that scallop, and then I just kind of forget about it. You can see there's my P. I come underneath, I make my knot and tighten, and now I do the same thing. There's my little scallop. I come in, do my Q this time, and tighten it up. Okay. Now I'm going to have some space. 1.
so then you do 3 half knots.
I do
The question
1
was, is there some place where all
and
our
2.
knots are? That was
right.
the question, Grace. And are the various different knots. And it's funny how we use so much of the same knot. But
Right.
if you go to Skill Builders, and if you also go to under Projects 5-stitch and watch Nicole's video, you're going to see where
So
she
many
uses
different knots.
herringbone and spiral and square knot with beads. But if you, it's such a good question. Where can you find all of our knots? I think I would start with and now that we have that new search tool, we could you could put in the search bar 5-stitch.
And 5-stitch will pop up.
5-stitch will pop up now, and I would say go there and watch Nicole's video, which has the most of the knots.
So I want to point out here the difference when you're using the different sizes of seed beads. So, and I'm also using 2 colors. So you can really see with this 6/0 how this 6/0 creates a pretty big space here. Okay, so you see the cord underneath. Now I'll go through this little knotting mantra in just a second, but I did want to show you the difference. See that with the 8/0, how your beads are a little closer together because the beads are smaller. So you get a little bit of a different effect when you use beads that are larger. So essentially, you guys, what we do here is, this is where I'm starting the pattern again. So I slide my bead up next to my scallop, tie my macrame knot, tighten it up. Now you can see how it's a little funny because this bead is a little bit big. That's okay, just give it a firm tug, and then I'm going to slide. Your bead should be on this side. I'll slide this knot up because you can see there's that little scallop, and I'll tie the Q, or the opposite side knot. Okay, so now once I've tied that set, I'm going to just tie 2 knots. So I go 1 knot, 2 knots, slide up a bead, there it goes, 1 knot, slide a bead, and 2 knots.
We have a viewer who just logged on. This is Chinese knotting cord 0.5.
Yes.
And another viewer asked about waxed linen as far as if we use it in any projects.
Oh,
we do.
We do. In our Odyssey project, we use wax linen.
And Debbie says a lot of bead stores are doing these live presentations, but yours is definitely the all caps best.
Oh, yay!
And then something about its instructors, but it says it got cut off.
Oh, well, thank you.
That's so nice to hear.
It's cool. We love that, through this medium of Facebook Live, that we can meet and chat with so many of our customers. And you know what? We say the more the merrier.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Your instructions are so clear and personalities are winners.
Oh, we're winners.
Yeah,
we're winners.
We're winners.
Well, thank you. And I think some of that has to do with how long we've actually been doing this.
Yeah.
I don't want to toot our horns too much, but there's so much inside our heads about problem solving and stringing and designing and building and techniques that it's very hard for designers who are new to bead stringing to really be able to recall things that happened 25 years ago, and
just with the experience, problem solving.
I love that more and more people are doing this, especially with so many bead stores closing. And you're right, the more the merrier. And we want everyone to share the love of beading. Like, get out there and bead and blog and Facebook Live and. Yeah, but it's really nice that we have a very strong, loving following. It's
we
great.
really appreciate it.
Stephanie chimes in and says that our YouTube videos have inspired her to make macrame jewelry.
Yay.
And Whitney wants to know what beads we're using.
So Whitney, we are using, Janice, what did you choose?
Colors. Let me get the colors.
Do you want the color? Which actual ones we're
Bonnie's
using?
also asking to suggest a great color that goes with the Poseidon Chinese knotting cord and turquoise beads. She's making beach bracelets.
Oh, Janice, do you want to go into the bead room
and get out?
Might as well.
Poseidon?
Yeah, Poseidon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to?
So this is what we used, and maybe
turquoise beads, she says.
Okay. And I'll show. those next.
Okay.
I'll just finish this up real
Do
quick.
you want me to get you one of those butterflies to put on?
Oh, I've got it already set up over here.
Okay, because I think a butterfly
On this? Yeah, you could.
a yellow one.
Yeah,
would be
do
so
it.
pretty. Okay.
So you can see, you guys, how we've just kind of come in, and you know that you're doing this correctly, and you saw me kind of take some out and make sure I was doing it right. You can double check your pattern to make sure that you've got the 2 and 2, 2 and 2, 2 and 2, like that. That's how you want to make sure, how you can see that your pattern is coming out correctly. Also, you'll know that you can't bring up a bead when it's not on the correct side for the knot. So if I'm off and I go, oh, I think I'm tying a knot here, but there's no bead on the cord, then you know you're off. Okay, and look at how nice this kind of multicolor showing the 2 tones of the beads looks. Really beautiful. I love it. And then what we used here, just so you know, this was the matte chartreuse AB, and you would just search, I would search it in the 8/0 matte chartreuse AB. The matte yellow AB, also in a size 8. These are size 6s, matte transparent gray AB in a size 6. And matte transparent pale pink AB, also in a size 6. So those are the exact beads we chose for this. So let me show some of the variations on this theme, shall we?
Sorry.
Nope, no worries. So I always have to...
Really quick, sorry.
Yeah, no.
Layla's asking 8 or 6, but we use both.
We use both. We use 2 8/0s, 2 6/0s.
And Whitney wants to know if those seed beads contain any lead.
Nope, they do not. All of the beads that we carry are from sources that make sure that all of their products are lead-free. So you can rest assured. These are all Japanese seed beads that we're using. So I, of course, had to kind of play around with this variation. And this is, I just love these carved pieces. These are from our Vintage Finds collections. And I thought, wouldn't it look cool with these great pieces that Robin made, especially for spring, to have something that has a little more of a center, right? A centerpiece, which is cool. So oh, and you know what? I forgot to grab Janice. I'm going to have you grab it. I need some regular shadows, please.
Oh, sure. And what color?
I'll take brass, is fine. Okay. So this, you can see how it just really lines up nicely and kind of gives an extra punch to the Bollywood. The big shadows, Janice, sorry.
Shadows. And your mom's asking how long each macrame section should be.
Oh, for this one, Ma, you're jumping the ship or jumping ahead, Ma. I'll get there shortly. But thank you. Yes. So perfect. Thank you. So the way that I would start this is, so think about this project like it's half of what we did when we're doing a large one. So I still cut the 2 yards here for this length across. But with that 2 yards that I would cut to go all the way down, I instead just go ahead and cut that in half. So I have a yard and a yard. And I do that for both sides. So you can see, I'm going to do another color. Whoops, sorry, Grace, I didn't mean to hit the camera.
What color do you want?
I like this color. Oh, no. I left this out. That's what I want. So I'm going to cut another long 2-yard piece.
It's pretty with this too.
It is. It is pretty. I was using the leftovers from Robin's, but I could throw that in.
Lynn is wanting me to zoom in on your closure that you have here.
Yeah, so Lynn, I'm going to show you how I actually put this on. I thought it would be a fun way to kind of depart from doing the fishtail, which I'm going to show you guys as well. But just come with me on this little ride while I put all of this up together. So you can see on this Vintage Find how I went through. It has a hole there, And I could go through the hole, or I could go through the big hole in the piece. This time I'm going to go through the big hole because it's easier. And I wanted a way to keep everything together. And I could tie a knot, but instead, you guys know my favorite bead of all time that we carry is our shadow. So I went right over to the big shadow and just said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use that big shadow to keep all of these threads together.
Your mom said no, the whole section without the centerpiece. And Layla's asking if we're going to show the closure and how to do the macrame closure too.
I will. Okay. Yes, Lynn, I've got it all. Don't you worry, Lynn. Your wish is my command. I wouldn't leave you hanging.
I think that was Layla. Sorry.
Layla. Lynn, Layla, Ma, whatever. Yes. So I'm going to set it up both sides. So you can see that there. And again, I could also use, that's where the beauty of this big needle, having this wire needle. Let's see if I can coax all of these through at the same time, because why not? I like living on the edge. Let's try it. This big shadow has such a gigantor hole.
Speaking of hole sizes,
and
Pamela
see how it goes right on.
Is asking
Pamela,
if she's using 0.5 Chinese knotting cord, what size beads should she buy to make sure the hole is big enough, which we kind of touched on earlier.
Yeah, we did touch on it a little bit earlier. I would say that we use both the 6/0 and the 8/0. So
what you need, clips?
Yeah, clips. Both the 6 and the 8.
Use your words.
Well, I was wanted to
Use
point.
your words.
We're using both the 6 and the 8 to go on that 5mm. Yes, Gopka, I'm using my words. So see how nice that looks with the two colors underneath, you guys? And you can see on this one, I did it with the gray and the blue. So I'll clip this to the board just as I did. And so now, Ma, this gets to your question of how long should I make this? So what I did was I strung on 20 beads. For the sides. I'll just grab onto this one here. I cut about a yard. This is a little short.
What do you need?
I had one.
What do you need?
I'm gonna use, you said it would be nice to use this one.
Oh, the gray.
This, yeah.
Yeah, there
I'll
it
use
is.
that.
You don't mind if I work on this?
No,
while
I
you do
don't.
That, right?
So I'm gonna cut this yard. So about 20 beads will give me enough to play with for length. What I realized was that I only used 18 of those beads. So this length actually wasn't that long because we added the length. You need to think about the length of the clasp as well. So let me slide this up. And then we start this just as we did Brittany's long regular Bollywood. See, I'm pushing that up, tying my first knot, and now I'm just going to do a set of 4. 1, 2. This is pretty with this blue.
Carolyn just said she loves all our jewelry ideas and she really loves the way we coordinate colors.
Thank you.
It's really no mystery. It's just get out a book and
play around with it.
Or copy the colors. Just use that as your beginning guide. That's what I find. It's in nature. It's all around us.
I'd like the
Marie.
These guys.
Okay.
Marie just checked in from South Africa.
Hi, Marie. Welcome. It's good to have you. So you can see I've done a set 2 and 2 of these knots. Now I'm ready to string whatever bead I'm going to use on the side and start to macrame. So what I've done here, we can go to this guy over here, but you can kind of play around, especially what I did was after I did one side, I put my clasp together. I laid out my clasp, and this is kind of what I do when I string anyway. and I measured this out. This came to about 1 inch. So I knew that I had to make my piece with the clasp 1 inch shorter than, you know, the finished length, because that clasp would add about 1 inch to the end. So this this guy, I'll move this, we'll move this guy down. I'm going to take this off, we'll move it. I wanted to show you, before we get to this closure, this was a variation. Some of you heard me speak a little bit earlier about the piece that my mom was doing. She was kind of incorporating a little bit of our poetry project and mixing it into this Bollywood. So what I used here, this is 0.4 millimeter Chinese knotting cord. And then I just started with a little end, a la what we did here, like starting with the way we started with Brittany's, that would be the end. And then I just came in, tied my knot, and started. So I did a set of 4 macrame knots, and then 1 big 6/0 bead, 4 knots, then a 6/0, and then I did that little back and forth Bollywood stitch. And so with these 6/0s, you can see I pre-strung them. So when they're ready to go, just like with our poetry project, I slide it up, I tie my knots around it.
I think this comment is funny. I have to share it. Sorry,
Yeah.
while you're doing that. Stephanie says she's been driving her husband crazy talking about all the new things she's learning.
Oh, I love it. So
That's
2 and
what
2.
husbands are supposed to do, is listen to us.
That's right.
That's why I don't have one anymore.
Oh, we have a question that we... Okay, Angie wants to know if we can add a link of what materials we're using today so we can easily purchase it.
Yes, so if you go to our
Wouldn't that
website,
be too easy, though?
wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be too
If
easy.
you go to our website and you click on our Facebook Live link, it'll take you to a landing page that has all of our Facebook Live stuff, and you can see there are links there to the things that I'm doing now, but we could also
We'll have to add the
we'll add
colors
the
we
colorways
use, yeah.
that Janice used. We'll add
And
it
we'll
at that link.
also add the colorways for the turquoise and silver
Yeah,
one
we'll
that we're
show
gonna
that
talk
one.
about.
Let's see how we do.
And
Okay.
Susan says that that we have so many lovely beads which she can't get in Europe.
Oh, well, you know, we do have a very special shipping that we do. Our shipping, we do a $10 shipping to international destinations. So for just $10, you can get your order shipped to you, and it's been working really, really well. So don't hesitate if you're concerned about the shipping fees. It's great for that. So let me show you here. This is one that I finished with this little butterfly in the center, and these are some of our new butterflies that we've gotten. And I just started this.
How did you get it on easily?
Well, on
That's
Magic.
why I used a collapsible eye
collapsible eye needle to
but
get it on.
I needed the this
plier to
this
pull.
wasn't like easy breezy. So how
Well,
did
I
you do
think
it?
that the hole sizes in these, Janice, may differ just a little bit, because this
Okay.
one, I don't
Was
know,
fine?
was fine. Yeah.
Okay, well this
So-
one was a little harder,
It was a little
so
harder,
I
but you
had
got
to.
it on.
I did. I had to use a plier. I had,
Mhm.
I had to pull it on. I had to tell it who the boss was.
Who's the boss? You're
Yeah.
the boss.
Quick question,
Yeah.
sorry. Sharon, she says she may have missed this, but what's the length of the thread you're using on this focal point piece bracelet?
So this length is about 2 yards cut in half, this whole one, and then each side is a yard and folded in half and done. With this one here, it's that 2 yards and 2 yards both folded over and worked that way. So let me show you how I would start to put a finished clasp on this.
Yes, Kate.
Shall
show
I?
us. Yes.
So I'm going to use this.
Show us.
Just show us. I'm going to use this oval jump ring, and I'm going to open this sucker up. I'm going to slide it onto our oval crimp. And this is, I always check you know, the clasp, since it's magnetic, it likes to stick to things, so I knew it was sticking to something, but I found it. I closed that up with my chain nose pliers, and I'm using the oval jump rings on this, you guys, because oval jump rings have a lesser tendency to pull apart, I found, especially when they're a fine gauge like this. So that's why I've used this oval. Come in here, slide this guy on, close this guy up. Okay, so see how I have now that completed, that closed up clasp. So I have pre-measured, and I'll measure this on my wrist so you guys can see. I'll turn it over. I've pre-done so that I know when I close this off, I have, it looks like I've got one more set to go on this side and this side. So I'll put this back on. But I know that my fit needs to be about 1 inch shorter than my finished piece.
Okay, we have 2 questions.
Yes, I've got 2 answers.
It's a funny question, because
Yes.
we talk about it all the time. Whitney wants to know if for a future Facebook Live we could give a tour of our space here.
Oh, yes.
And then Gail is wondering how to decide on the board. She says 1 week we use macrame, 1 week we use the board. Or
oh, Gail.
she wants to know, is it just simply based on personal preference?
Yeah, a lot of it is. I use the macrame board sometimes for laddering, and I really, really like it. But this deep dish design board that we use, you know, I'm actually doing some looming with it now. And I find that it's really, really versatile. So again, I think it just comes down to personal preference. You know, I was a real macrame board fanatic, but then Janice really turned me on to this board, this deep dish board. So now, you know, things are evolving. So I think a good place to start, what would you recommend, Janice, this deep dish board?
I think the deep dish design board is what I would,
Mm-hmm.
if you only could get one board.
Mm-hmm. It's so versatile.
And yeah, I would start with that. I think you could also start with a baking dish, you know, a
You could,
cookie sheet
yeah.
with sides.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a macrame board is wonderful, but I don't think you have to have it to do macrame.
Mm-hmm.
You just need something with sides, and I think you need some binder clips and some like
You're
twine,
good to go.
and you're good to go.
So let me show you this little trick, you guys. Notice how, see how my threads, they're all wide, and it's going to be hard to shove those threads up into this 2mm crimp. So I get my friend, your friend and mine, the Zap glue. Do you remember how I made those needles a little bit earlier? I'm going to harden the ends. This is a good, are you watching this, Janice? This is a good trick.
No,
You're going to
I'm
learn
not
something.
watching it, but I should.
See how I get
watch.
all of my threads
Yeah.
together? I'm
Yeah.
just teasing you. You keep macrameing.
But I turned mine
But see?
to the long way because I found
Oh.
when I'm getting in there to finish those last bits of
Bits off.
it's too tight for
Too
me
tight
with
for you?
my old hands.
You like air.
I like air, yeah.
So see how you guys,
Yeah.
how I brought that all together, so now I've tamed those cords.
Yeah, does it make it stiff?
So now it makes it stiff. Now I can bring my little crimp up against it and go, okay, I'm gonna need about, try not to glue it to your hands. I'm gonna need about this much to shove in there, shove being a technical term, and I'll come in and clip that end away. Look at that. Bam. Now,
very nice.
all I'm gonna do, thanks Janice.
Very well done, Katie.
Thank you, Janice. Now I'm just gonna add another little drop of Zap, my new favorite glue. You've opened so many horizons for me, Janice. This
Well,
glue, this
that
board.
Zap glue is just the bee's knees.
It is.
I wish I could say there was anything like
we
it,
go.
but there really isn't.
Drea wanted to share. There was a customer who just sent you photos, Kate.
Okay.
Who just completed a bunch of Bollywood bracelets, and she made them for a fundraiser.
Oh,
And
awesome.
she said it reminded her when she saw the butterflies, and she said the color purple also are their unofficial symbols for fibromyalgia.
Oh, really?
I love it. Well, I can't wait to see them. See how, you guys, I just used my tweezers. I put a little glue on those ends, and I put it right in that crimp. So it was glued and glued. And now I'm going to close it up. Yes, question, Gracie.
Susan wants to know how much air you leave between the focal piece and
Oh, that's a great
either
question.
end when knotting.
That's a great question. So I actually thought I thought about that as I was making it and tried to remind myself to tell you. So thank you for reminding me. I will show this really tight. It's this air that you mean right here, I think. You can see I've got a little bit of wiggle room so that it feels loose, but visually it's not. It doesn't look loose. Does that make sense? There's a little bit of room there, but not much. So you can see how that's nice on there, really nice and tight.
Judith
And I'll do the
said-
second side.
Sorry, Judith said this glue looks great. She's had so much trouble with the GS Hypo cement leaking badly.
Yeah. So the GS, what the GS does is that it
Stand it up.
stand it up on its little foot.
Yeah. I keep it in a little like shot glass at home, stood up, and last week we talked about using sponges. I don't know if anyone out there got a sponge and tried it, and if they like it. But if you stand it up, the glue obviously is not going to want to leak and seep because it's going, gravity will pull it in the opposite direction. Wipe it off before you rest it, and then if you're going to put the cap in, don't press too hard on the tube while you're putting the cap in.
Right,
that's
because
pushing the glue up.
The glue
Yeah.
out, yeah. There we go. I want to make sure that's all tight in there. One of the things I want to show you guys, sometimes this happens very, very rarely, but I want to show you because it's a teachable moment here. Sometimes when you are using the magnetic clasps, once in a while the glue on them fails, and this one failed. So I want to show you how I would fix it. Again, our friend the Zap glue. I come in and I give a nice dollop of the Zap, and I grab, see, because I can see there's my little magnet. You want to make sure that you're gluing down the right side, but you just bring it in, glue it back into place. You're the boss of that magnet, you guys. Glue it right in, and then you'll be back in business. So once in a while this just happens, you know, glue is, you know, will fail once in a while, but there's no reason to freak out or worry. All I do is I just come in, see how I'm pressing it in with my little baggie. I'm going to let that sit for a second, and then I'll be right back in business.
Speaking of glue,
Whitney
is asking about the difference between Zap and Hypo.
Well, in a nutshell, and we'll probably touch on this. We've
next
touched on
week,
it on
Prairie, when we do
yeah,
leather.
we'll talk about glue. The thing about glue, the Zap glue is great for metal because it bonds almost instantly. So it's kind of like a crazy glue. The Hypo cement is more of a flexible glue. When it dries, it doesn't have the tendency to like overly stiffen. Like with this, you can see I've glued it with the Zap, and the cords are really super stiff. The Hypo cement, it's much more flexible and doesn't dry on command almost like this one does. But they both, so for my knots, like if I'm knotting or if I'm doing a finished final knot in like an end tip or something like that, I'll go ahead and I'll use my Hypo cement for that knot
I like
instead.
to think of it as one breathes and the other doesn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good
So the
good way to think of it.
cement will allow your thread to breathe, your beads to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
The zap glue takes no prisoners.
Mm-mm.
It's like
It's done, one and done.
no more breathing, guys.
Mm-mm.
I'm in and I'm secure and I'm there forever.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully. So
So I'm going to add my little
Yeah.
glue to the end here. I'm almost out of this zap. I wonder where I can get some more.
you want me to
No,
go get
I'm
more
fine.
now?
No.
Susan says she's found it necessary to put safety chain on her magnetic bracelets.
You know, it's a
Oh.
really good point. Sometimes with magnetic bracelets, especially if they have dangle to them, if they have room, space, they'll get caught and they'll open. Or if they're weighty, if they're at all heavy, sometimes they will just come off. What I found with this Bollywood project that I liked was that the bracelet itself, you can see, there we go, it's all glued back together, no problem at all. What I found with this one, here it is, I'm going to put it on my wrist because I made this one for me. This one, oh, look at where the clasp ended up. Whoops. There we go, my loose clasp, I couldn't find it, and it stuck to itself. There we go. The way I made this one is I made it pretty tight so it won't have a tendency to catch, and the bracelet itself is pretty light. So I feel pretty confident that this is going to hold together, but you could do a little safety chain from here with a small little clasp if you wanted to make sure. Okay, so that's this guy. So you can see adding a clasp, you wouldn't have to add a magnetic clasp to this. You could also add any type of clasp that you liked, lobster claw, whatever worked for you, toggle, whatever works. So let me show you now the other closure, which is that fishtail closure.
Sandra says magnetic clasps on bracelets may pick up unintended objects such as silverware when you're having a meal.
It's really true. These little clasps like to pick everything up.
Amy is asking, she says she has a small wrist of 5 1/4 inches. She's wondering what the average size of these vintage finds are.
They run about 1.5 inches.
Yeah, about.
I can get a tape measure and
Gita says coins would look cool too.
Coins would look
coins,
cool.
yes. Even I-Ching coins,
Mhm,
because you could bring
Mm-hmm.
through the center, anything with the center, you could bring threads this way.
Threads through. So let me show you, it might be kind of hard to see on that white color. Let me go to this one. Now for closing these off, you guys, this is where we started, right, with that long one. I'll show you how I do it on here. This way, this is how we close this single strand one, or if we're doing something with a double strand right here and this fishtail. So what I'll do is I will, with a final knot, I'll bring my cords around, and I will have pre-measured this, and I'm gonna just do a nice tight knot, and this is where I want that flexible glue. I'm gonna come in. For those of you who have a thread burner, this is when you'd burn those threads away. Oops. Well, Brittany burns them in the video.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to cut the tails off right now. I'm just going to let those tails hang out. And then I'm going to tie an overhand knot. I'm going to grab the tweezer.
Right there.
Right in front of me. I'm going to grab this tweezer, tighten everything down. Then I can't wait to show what you've got going on over there, Janice.
Oh gosh, I can't remember my knots.
Well, it's all right. We'll look at that
We can look at
closure.
it.
It's pretty.
We can look at it.
Yeah, we'll look at it when I'm almost done with this.
Nope.
So see how I've done that little knot there, and we'll do that same thing over here. You know, knotting live, doing this live, and, you know, sitting at home in your studio, it's two different techniques, that's for sure. So thanks for hanging in there with us. But
So again, that's just an overhand.
just an overhand, and I'm going to glue this bad boy down. Glue that sucker.
And our base cords and all our cords are 0.5.
Yeah, 0.5. Though you could use the
Chinese knotting
0.8
cord.
or the 0.4. You could mix them up, mix and match. This really is, you guys, the perfect project to start kind of designing on your own and playing around with it. You can see we've got so many variations on a theme. Notice how I'm using my knotting tweezers to help me walk that knot up. And again, these little ends, these cords, I'm going to really wait till this Chinese knotting cord has dried the glue on there. I like to wait 24 hours for that. So now I'm just going to add some little beads onto the end. Let's see if I can make this happen for myself with my little, I had a needle out. Now, of course, the end of our broadcasts, everything is all, you know,
Did you find
messy.
it?
I did, yeah, I had it here. So I know that I'm not alone. I know that your work table ends up looking as messy as mine does. So I don't feel so alone.
Oh.
Well, it's cool. No, I know. That's the beauty of it. That, you know, as beaders, it's kind of an international language, right? So I'm going to give myself, this is about 2 inches or so of beads. And I'm just going to, or of cord rather. And I'll tie this. And I could add a little bit of glue to that knot. And I'll do the same thing on this side right here. I put my needle down, and now I can't find it.
What are we looking for now? Another needle?
Oh, my collapsible eye needle.
I saw them earlier.
I had it. I just put it right down.
Is it right on the corner over there?
Did I move it?
No, I was just using it. Here's one.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Laying on the table.
We all need like a little helper.
I know, right?
With, you know,
A little bead elf.
someone who cleans up after us.
Right? That's like my dream come true. There we go. Slide this guy on, and I'll just make sure that it looks about the same length. So I'll just hold it there. Tie this up. How are those looking, Janice?
These look great. These ones that you made.
You like them?
I love. Like,
oh, I'm glad.
look at this in this.
In that, with that, I know,
With
they look
all-
good.
They look great. Or
Thanks.
this with this. Look
Wait,
at
you have
this.
to show the camera.
Oh, I have to show.
You
off
can't just show
camera.
me.
Okay, so
You can't just
I'm
show
just
me.
going to come over here, and this is the one that Kate made, and I'm just going to show you how nice it looks in there with those.
Show
Just-
the other one,
And then,
the
okay,
yellow one, because that's the one I didn't see yet.
okay, so this is how it looks with the nostalgia, how pretty that looks.
It does look
Not
nice.
pretty.
If I do say so myself.
It really looks good. It really
Thanks.
looks good.
You know, those
yeah.
vintage finds really, really
Love them.
inspired
Love
me
them.
to
Love
do
them.
it. So now let me show you guys how I set this up. I'm gonna cut these other tails just a little bit shorter so that you know those aren't the ones that I'm using right now. Hopefully I won't cut the wrong threads. Right, there we go. So here are the cords that I have left. So now I'm bringing it around, pardon me, and I'm going to cross the two tails, and I'm going to come in with, this is a piece of what we like to say CKC, Chinese knotting cord. I don't know, you don't need more than about 12 inches for this part. And it's a little fussy to start, but I'm going to control it by just coming in and tying a knot around everything because this bracelet wants to bounce around. So there's that. Now once I have that first knot, now I can kind of adjust my bracelet here. And now, you guys, all I do is simply do that macrame knot back and forth. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to come up and around and knot
You know, those T-pins would be...
They would be super
they
helpful
would be,
right now.
Brittany doesn't use those in the video, but I would think
Little pins.
little pins holding the
Everything together.
everything in place would...
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So you're not fumbling with this.
Yes. Yes.
So I just do my back and forth knots, though I'm
You're
finding
good,
my
yeah.
groove.
You're finding your groove. It's not...
Not too much fumble.
No, not at all.
But you just make this little back and forth knot, I don't know, as long as you like it. Brittany says about 7 to 8 knots, hers were. But see how you're the boss of this cord, you guys. You're not gonna let this cord get away from you.
That's why you want 2 inches of that original tail when you started, because you're macrameing over those, and you do need to have enough to make sure you've got a dangle, you know?
Right, see, like that. So that was at 2
so that
inches.
you have, you know, something like this.
So you have
so
enough,
that you have enough to open, so that it opens on both sides, and then it closes.
One of the things that Brittany also cautions, and it was when I was also talking with my mom about this, was that this first knot, you want it to be nice and firm, but you don't want it to be so tight that you're not going to be able to slide these threads underneath. Yeah. And so that's why earlier in the broadcast someone asked about waxed linen. Waxed linen underneath here, or doing this fishtail macrame with it, it would be so gummy that you wouldn't be able to slide things around. So it would just be, it just wouldn't be the right thing. I'm going to tie one more here. Yeah, question, Gracie?
So Janice is holding a blooming jade right now, and we had a question, someone who just tuned in, who asked how might you be able to use a carved component that doesn't have a hole through it. So if you could just maybe after you're done show that, or maybe Janice can.
A carved component that is it a bead?
Maybe not a bead, I think is what she's saying. Like
So in this one you could tie to the loops around the side. If it's,
you could also tension it between 2 threads really tight.
But if it's something like a stone that has no hole whatsoever, I think wouldn't you have to wire wrap it?
Yeah,
and then
do some wire wrapping or something.
Grab it, make sure it's... Is that the
I
question?
think so. Drea also says that she thinks a lark head's knot might work.
Yeah, so a lark's head, you could do that with this. Let's say that this, though, doesn't have a knot or a hole in it. Just have anywhere. And maybe it's just shaped, right?
Right.
So I'm coming in here, and I'm just using my scraps with this, you guys. I'm just riffing off the cuff. But you can see I might do something here where I'd get all of these threads, and I'd tie them together. So I have a knot. And obviously my cords would be a lot longer. And I'd come around here. This knot isn't very pretty, but you're with me. And then I'd have threads that were a lot longer, and I'd come in and I'd tie another knot here. And especially since this has the scallop,
it needs a scallop.
It needs something. It would slip out.
It would slip off.
But if there's a groove, sometimes you see these carved components and stuff that have grooves or whatever. Locate that groove and nestle your cord in, there we go, in that groove or something, so it doesn't move around.
Right. Right. That's brilliant, actually.
Judith wants to know how to do a lark's head, but also we have some people saying the bead reamer.
The bead reamer. So I couldn't drill a hole with the bead reamer, but I could enlarge it for sure. So here, that whole drilling is a whole other ball of wax. So here I would just come in with my hypo tube, my hypo cement, and I would glue that sucker down, and again, 24 hours. The thing, though, that what Brittany says, and the thing that you want to make sure that happens is, we want to make sure that the thread can still move underneath. So at this point, I would just make sure that everything slides around. There you can see I've got slidage. So I want to make sure that it's not too tight or too saturated.
And we want
just like so.
We have a question on the
name.
name.
And then I'll come in and cut this together. The name, how was this named? Bollywood. Janice? Oh, historian of all things bead shop.
Well, it's something that
that Brittany named it.
That Brittany named, and I think it was after that movie,
Slumdog Millionaire.
Yes, I think that was what inspired
that was her
her.
Inspiration.
Now I went on YouTube and I see lots and lots of bracelets now and Pinterest that are named Bollywood.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
we're
it was I guess
trendsetters.
it was just something years and years ago that she came up with because it was very inspired by, the fabrics, the saris.
At what
do you
want
to? Do you want to?
I want to do this, but let's finish this.
Oh,
can we look at it?
Well, look at it, but it's really a mess.
Well, no, it's not actually. I think it's pretty cool. You added the butterfly in the center. This is one, you guys, that we were working on earlier. And Janice added.
To start with this palette.
Yeah, it's that palette. And we added that yellow butterfly.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of like what we were talking about just now. We had the cords, the Chinese knotting cords, going down and underneath through the butterfly. And then, since the hole on this particular butterfly was kind of small, Janice just brought the cord over the bead. And I think it looks beautiful.
There was no way I could get all of them through it. So I had to go around with the outside cords.
And it's a lesson in using semi-precious beads, because these semi-precious beads have all been hand drilled.
Yes.
So some have been drilled larger, some have been drilled smaller, and you just adapt your design to whatever works.
Exactly.
Well, Gita loves it.
Oh,
she
thank
loves
you,
that
Gita.
You macrameed outside the macrame.
Yes, macrameing
okay.
outside the box. I love it. So here's the palette that you pulled for our customer who had the question, our viewer had the question about what would go with the Poseidon, right?
Right. And I pulled the Poseidon in 8 because we're right now out of it in the 5. But I would put it with like Pacific green. This is for a turquoisey ocean look. I would put it with aquamarine. I would put it with sky blue.
Yes.
And I would add white because it would be like how I would want to do
fresh,
summer.
very nautical.
And then I would put the silver metal beads. I would use the opaque sea foam, and I would use the turquoise green AB mat. Brittany also talked about adding a charm.
You could.
And I didn't grab it, but I would I would add like the starfish
charm, or we have the
seashell.
The seashell. You could even slide a button.
Sand
on.
dot.
There's an anchor
also.
Yeah, there's an anchor.
But I
like
think
this.
it would
It's
be
really
very
fresh. Yeah, it's really pretty.
Yeah.
And you could also mix up, sometimes if you didn't want the white to be quite as, white, you could go
You could
with,
add like the cream.
the
vanilla.
the cream,
Yeah.
which would be really pretty.
That's pretty too.
Yeah. So they're both really great.
Also,
yes.
we
We have a question.
on bracelets.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you just both of you say what you're wearing?
Oh, so I'm wearing, this is my, all of you see Janice's trail ride that she wears. Well,
I'm
this
not
is
wearing it
one
today.
that you're not wearing today. This is one I did a while back. It may have been on a Free Tip Friday, I think, or something. It's when we got this new leather in, the new studded leather. And I just did my version of trail ride. This is the surround, and then I used, instead of having the
Natural leather.
but instead of having the 10 millimeter magnetic clasp, I used our new single 5 millimeter special delivery clasp on the end, so it
Do
wraps.
we have just a quick second to show what we're going to do next week?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay.
You wanna
Wait,
share
Janice,
that?
wait, show
Janice,
us your
wait, what are you
bracelets
wearing?
super
You're
fast.
wearing poetry.
I'm wearing poetry.
Original poetry.
Original
Poetry
And
number
just
1.
an old
This is
bracelet.
a piece
Brittany
that I
gave me.
stamped. I did some hand stamping on this copper cuff, because those of you who know me know that not only do I bead but I pound on metal
Pound wire and metal.
as well.
So next week, so this is the original trail ride isn't in here, but next week we're going to do prairie.
Yes,
And this is Karen's
new
prairie,
one.
which
It's
is
called Bahama Mama.
Bahama Mama. She loves. So we're going to be doing the macrame stitch again, but with Ceylon. And again, with
Look at how
metal
beautiful
beads,
this is, you guys.
gluing next week.
Lots of gluing. And look at this.
But
this,
then we're also going to
Yes.
be doing this, which is
showing you this new, we've got this new
gluing into a nice
printed leather.
wide,
a wide
magnetic
clasp.
clasp.
Yeah. And talking about, how we
How
deal
to measure for a wide cuff.
multiple strands like
Yeah.
this. So it's going to be lots of fun.
Yeah.
This is beautiful. I'm going to put it on. You
Yeah.
had me put it on earlier, so
Yeah.
I'm going to put it on again.
Yeah.
It's just really a fun.
It's so fun to
a
wear.
fun piece.
And I think we're going to make one in turquoise and white.
That'll be great.
And silver for next week too.
And then I want to show. Will you hand what I've got going on over there?
Yes,
This is what I'm going
yes.
to do, you guys, for Free Tip Friday. I've been working on. We're going to continue our.
Can you get this in,
wrap.
Grace?
Yeah,
you.
I'll slide
Can
this.
you get the Kate's little doodle in there?
My little doodle. I'll translate and show you what this
Yes,
little doodle is
yes,
all about.
I love that little
on
doodle.
Friday. And we're going to be talking about doing some wrap things with looming. And this is, again, the deep dish
Yes.
board that I'm using as a loom. So,
Yeah.
but I took this right from home. I have my own little beading dish that I have from home. My friend Cynthia made this for me. Isn't this cute with this little crow
Very
underneath?
cute. Very cute.
And I'll be using that special delivery clasp again on this. So we're going to talk a little bit more about seed beads on Free Tip Friday.
Okay.
I just have to say that I think the viewer Stephanie is hilarious. Everything she says is funny. She says, "You guys should have a direct line to my bank account with everything I want to order."
Oh, well, thank you.
Well, thank you, Stephanie. But we have a lot of mouths to feed here.
We do.
So,
We do.
okay.
Well, let's get back in our closing positions
Okay.
and do some sign-offs. If we
Okay.
have any other final thoughts, Gracie, we can answer those questions.
A lot of loves for the upcoming
Oh,
projects and
great.
Free Tip Friday.
Great.
And
Well,
for the prairie for next
Yeah.
week.
Yes,
These are
it's going to be
just-
so fun
Yes.
doing prairie.
And these little slidey, it's just
I know.
really good, Janice.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
really
thank you.
picked up. I love this printed leather. It's
Yeah.
super, it's brand new, it's really fun.
Well, if everybody likes it, we'll get more of it
Yeah,
in.
we'll get more of it in.
Yeah.
I'm going to check my notes here to make sure
Yes.
I'm covering everything.
Okay.
But we've got, where did those giveaways go? Where are our giveaways?
Hold on, let me answer right
Yes, let's get them. I think they're way down there.
Are they down there?
We've got some giveaways, we've got some sales, we've got all of that going on. So today, it's April already, you guys, and if you're
know.
watching us live, today is April 5th, 2017. You know that we love to do giveaways at the end of our Facebook Lives. So we've got, Jen put these together, these great mixes, and it's a great start to do some Bollywoods. So what you guys,
Can I just add to
yeah.
that? She actually had a pastel idea in mind because we have.
Oh, the
Well, you're going to
pastel
talk about it, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the pastel.
So
set.
what we've got on sale this week, we'll start there. We've got a couple of things on our site-wide for another week. Our pastel collection is all 10% off. So it's a great way to get started. You can go right to the color collection, click on pastels, and you'll see all that whole category is on
Right.
sale. We're also, of course, because it's a Facebook Live day, we're giving you Facebook Live viewers 15% off store-wide.
All
And
day.
so all day.
All day.
All day. So it's not
Okay.
like you have to rush to use that 15% off. It's spring 15, and you can stack that with your pastel 10% and get all kinds of great savings. So today only, that sale does end tonight at midnight, 4/5/2017. But for the giveaway, you've only got an hour, and it's noon, high noon here, Pacific time. And if you put in your order notes, if you write pastel mix, and you get a choice, you can either choose the blue pastel mix or the purple. And you just need to write pastel mix and clarify the color if you want blue or purple. If you don't clarify, we'll choose for you.
Okay.
Okay, but you get either the blue or the purple, and it's the beautiful pastel mixes that Jen put together just for this giveaway. She does such a good job with her mixes.
Beautiful.
They're great.
Beautiful.
So 15% off, spring 15 until midnight, but shop in this next hour and let us know about the pastels, which one you'd like. Are you exhausted?
Sad. No, I'm not. I'm ready to do another project.
Let's do it. Let's keep going. And now, next on Facebook Live. Well, next week, you guys, we've got so much. Please join us for our prairie.
Yes.
Keep sending in. We love, you have no idea what a lift your projects do for all of us when
And
you mail
Creative
them
Spaces.
in. Yeah, and Creative Spaces. All of that
wonderful
really
emails
gives us a lift.
Every single one is read.
Yeah, and we really
hopefully
love
every
it.
single one is answered.
Yes. So I'll see you guys on Friday for Free Tip Friday. Gracie, thanks for your great camera work today. It was really, Grace always gets it right in there. So thanks so much, and we'll see you next week. All right, another one.
Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. See you guys soon.